So I think there's a couple of myths about how the RIA board makes decisions, especially like who's on the board, and then who are we representing whenever we're making really big decisions about the future of the industry. So maybe it's a good idea for us to just talk through who we represent from our company. So Ben, where are you located? How many states are you representing?
So we're located out of Atlanta, Georgia. We're a regional firm, 9 locations in 7 different markets, representing 4 different states. We work in 4 different states in the Southeast region.
Okay, and I'm close to you. I'm in North Carolina. I'm in a very, very small town, a rural community. So I'm in North Carolina, and I'm representing the smaller independents of the world. Jeff?
And I'm with ATI Restoration, so we're in 74 markets. I don't know how many states that we're actually in those offices, but yeah, we do work in all of the states across the country.
But so we represent contractors across the country, even Canada, Australia, but every question that comes to the table, every issue, let's talk about, ways that we're saying, how does this impact the small and the large? We have our enterprise membership, and that does help fuel our AGA initiatives, but do you think that maybe people think that we're not taking their viewpoints into consideration where we're voting on what AGA should be prioritizing as issues?
I'm not sure from that perspective. I think we've done a good job going back maybe to 1999 when the AGA was created and formed, and through Mark Springer's presidency, through your presidency, hopefully through mine, and then moving to Jeff's, being able to take all the feedback from the membership. We've obviously seen momentum and growth in the association at unprecedented numbers, and anticipate continued growth through that. So I think the membership is being heard. I think we're addressing the things that need to be addressed, and hopefully making the positive changes that the membership is looking for, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah. I also think it's important to note that we're always talking about, even in some of our sessions where you've heard pirates and cowboys and bad actors, and we think that, most of the people who are here in this conference, that's not exactly who we're referring to, because we're talking about ethics and doing things with integrity, and we know our members are doing that. They're committed to doing great work. But really, some of the things that I have always stood up for in my time with RIA, and that's 10 years on the board, and making sure that independents aren't seen as just the unsophisticated, uneducated mom and pops. Like, that's not who the independent restorer is, not in the year 2025 by any means. And so it's important for me when I think about nominating people for our board, or either asking them to put their name in the hat, I'm looking for people that represent the average restorer. If we look at the cost of doing business report, we know that most companies that are answering these surveys, they're in the $1 to $2 or even the $1 to $5 million revenue range. And think about how many companies actually reach $1 million in revenue. I've heard it's anywhere from only 5 to 10% of all businesses ever reach that milestone. So that's a big deal. And I think as you grow and grow and grow, you forget about what a big deal it is to reach that milestone. And so we know that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of independents that we have not reached yet. So we're really aware of how our actions and how our words need to make sure that we want everyone to feel welcome here, that it's a place for all restorers of every shape and size. And then I think about how we need more volunteers, more board members to represent different viewpoints and perspectives. And, I think maybe one of the things that we talk about is the time commitment for being on the board, because I think that's a myth too. But first of all, we're not paid. We're not paid. This is not a paid position at all. We did this out of the love for the industry. I've never gotten paid. No, unless it got lost in the mail. Yes, it got lost in the mail. But let's realistically talk about what kind of time does it take to be on the RIA board?
So I think as far as the time commitment, it's like anything else. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. And from the compensation standpoint, I think this is likely the best investment I make personally, and we make as an organization to the association with all the relationships, the advocacy that comes along, with it, the networking. I look at it as an investment, almost a marketing expense to our organization, and we see the benefits that are coming out of it. But it's all about how much time and effort you put into it, because if you show up at the conferences, if you get involved with task force or committees and do the work, then it'll pay off in big dividends.
What do you think, Chuck?
Yeah, I think from the actual time commitment, we meet quarterly. So they're, Zoom calls that don't cost you any money. You do have to come to convention, so you do have to pay for your flight. They don't give you a first class ticket, and RIA doesn't pay you back for it.
Or any ticket.
Or any ticket. They don't pay for any ticket, so it's not like they're rolling out the red carpet. No.
Ours keep getting
So the real commitment is coming to convention. So if you already come to convention, you're already paying for your flight. That doesn't cost you any money. And then we typically meet once a year outside of that. So it's going to cost you a flight, a hotel room. That's typically about it. So you're looking at a couple days investment and a couple of Zoom calls. So it's much less than what people do. Now, if you want to get involved on the executive committee, not any more in-person meetings, or maybe one every blue moon, but it's phone calls, it's Zoom calls, it's nothing anyone can't do. It's an hour. I think we're on a call an hour every other week, and that's only for like 3 to 5 of us. So
yeah, and there's also the expectation that if you're going to serve on this board, we are a roll up your sleeves kind of board, and you're not just delegating everything to staff. We take a job, and just about every person on our board has some type of volunteer role within the organization, whether it's a committee, AGA, whatever it may be. I think when it comes to being a great board member, it doesn't matter if you have a really, really large organization or if you're a single location. If you're the type of person who manages your time effectively, like if you can respond to text and emails and phone calls, and you have a calendar, you're pretty consistent and disciplined with your time, and you can get to meetings on time and prep for them and do things in your normal everyday life, you can squeeze this into your life as well if it's important to you. But more than anything, your intentions have to be good and pure, and you've got to do this for the greater good of the industry, because every time we talk about any issue, we all have to go around the room and ask ourselves, what's best for the industry? Every time. And so what's best for you is also what's best for me, and it's what's best for you and your company
I think depending on the task force or committee or board or whatever seat and whatever level of involvement you want to get involved in is going to depend on, if it's a task force that's working on special projects, there may be, some additional phone calls or some additional work, to put into that to help finalize whatever that project is. And then you may have, a break or some time, off until the next thing comes along and whatever that is. But those are the things that are helping us move the association and the industry forward.
Yeah. One other thing I think is important, and I was just in our general session where we're talking about the claims ecosystem with carriers and pricing and contractors, and I was reading all of these comments, and I thought this is great feedback for AGA. One of the things I think is important for us to let everybody know is that we hear you, and we know what you're saying, and also just take into consideration, contractors by nature, restorers are get it done quick kind of people. Like we are get it done in an hour. We're on site ready to go. And when we think about moving an entire industry in the same direction, that takes a really long time. And so don't get frustrated with us if you think that we don't hear you, and don't think that we're not doing anything. And hopefully if you were at town hall, you saw our AGA video of like the timeline of everything that's happened. I forget about how much we've done and how far we've come, but it took 5 years. And with carriers, like that industry is so much larger than ours. And for us to move in the right direction with them, it's going to take a long time. So don't lose patience with us. Don't think that we don't hear you. Don't think we're not listening. We have the same problems that you have. I mean, we're all fighting the same battles, but when you're fighting this battle, you have to do it diplomatically, and you can't be too forceful here. So we want to do this professionally and get real long-term results, and not just some quick win, but lose the war in the end.
I think the bottom line is that we're all better together.
Yes.
No matter what size you are, if you're state, regional, national, firms. I think we're all better and have a bigger voice together as one. And the more this association continues to grow, the bigger voice we're going to have, the more mountains we're going to move, and then be able to move faster, depending on, how big we're able to get and to grow and what members we're able to bring on board. So
I think it's really important for anyone who's interested in whether you want to be a future president, a board member, we really do need volunteers. We need future leaders. And it doesn't matter what size, it doesn't matter how you get your business. If you want to get engaged, you got to join a committee. So there are people that want to run for the board that aren't put forth on the board because they're either one, not active on a committee, they're not showing up to all their committee meetings. So we need you to be an active participant wherever you see fit. And then once you do that, you will meet the criteria. We will put you on the slate. And at that point, it is up to the membership. It is a vote. And we do want to have a balanced board. But at the end of the day, the three of us and the RA don't control who gets voted. We can certainly ask people to run, but we don't control the votes. At the end of the day, it is you, the membership. But I do think it's important that you get both the large national player, you get the state, you get the local, and you get the regional player, because we all see things differently. Some of us have other resources that others don't. So I think having a balanced board is really important. Having a bunch of companies like ATI would not do value to the association, and having a bunch of local state companies like Katie's would also not move the needle in terms of getting some of the players in the industry there. And so I think it's a balance of having all three perspectives is what's really allowing us to take on really challenging issues and will allow us to continue to move this needle for all restorers moving forward.